What's good, Wagering World? It's your boy Five Star in Vegas, broadcasting live as always from beautiful Summerlin, Nevada. And then with my co-host, my guy, the only Sacramento Kings fan that I know. What's good, Spread Astaire? How are you today?
Man, I'm doing good. Pretty excited. We got college football with week one last night. A lot of action on TV, and of course, we'll be talking that a little later. And then the real big matchups begin this weekend. So NFL next week, best time of the year. Let's go.
What do you think? You got some of your sports made some headlines last night with Donovan Mitchell being traded to the Cavaliers for a huge package, like we know the Danny Ainge is going to get. uh, he always seems to really win all his trades, and I think he won this one. What's your opinion on the Donovan Mitchell to Cleveland?
5 first-round picks? You got to be kidding me.
For Donovan Mitchell.
And they gave away Colin Sexton. Yeah. Like I was telling my buddy, we were talking about it this morning. I said, if you're just going by 2K standards and just right now, like Donovan Mitchell's what, a 90? And Colin Sexton's an 84. You gave up
Yeah.
5 first-round picks to go up, like, just to get a
And
slightly
look,
better player.
and he stole the biggest piece that he stole, in my opinion, was a Bahi from Kansas.
Yeah.
I will never understand. I guess this is Bickerstaff with his approach. He likes veterans, I know, but come on, man, you cannot get rid of the Final Four MVP that shot over 40% from the 3-point line, led
Yeah.
his team to a national championship, 6'5" and plays defense on both, plays both ends of the court hard, does a little bit of everything. This kid would have been the perfect complement next to Garland, and you guys made the right decision, drafting him. He fell in your hands at number 13, and this kid is really like a top 10 pick. And now you trade him off, and he's going to have a hell of a career with Utah. Remember, I told you that. Bahi is going to fit perfectly in Utah, man. He's going to really do well out there. And don't be surprised if Colin Sexton is his running mate over the next couple of years. And through the draft, they start adding a lot of pieces. And before you know it, Utah will be back. The same thing that
Yeah.
Ainge did with the Celtics.
I'm jealous, and I always say your team, Houston, did it right, and now Utah's doing it right too, right? Rather than the slapdash rebuild that the Sacramento Kings are doing, where they keep trying to win now and fail. You sell. I mean, if this is what guys like Donovan Mitchell are going for, I mean, you got to give me a break. 5 first-round picks, and hey, you brought up on the show, and then I saw it. Statistically, he was a good defender in college, and his defense has steadily decreased. Now, is that with due to dissatisfaction in Utah or the usage? If his defense comes back, maybe it'll be okay. But boy, I think this is going to be a disaster for Cleveland. I mean, I don't understand how you go if you give away 5 first-round picks, you better get Kevin Durant back.
Right.
Right? I mean, you need
Right.
like a top 5 guy. Like, you got to be kidding me. Unbelievable. Even James, I mean, unbelievable. So, yeah, we'll see how it turns out. I mean, hey, hopefully he makes me eat my words. I'd be happy for him, right? Because Cleveland, that was a cool story last year and everything, right? And it is another small market team. I want them to do well. But, boy, I think they made a big mistake, and I think they overplayed big time.
Well, the key to that whole trade is going to be his relationship with BJ Bickerstaff. If Bickerstaff can somehow get him to, buy into playing defense, which I saw him play at Louisville, which was why he was drafted. Like, no one even knew he was this type of scorer. He developed into a
Mm-hmm.
scorer. He was initially drafted, as we spoke about earlier, with me being a person that watches a lot of college basketball. He played hard, man. He was one of those guys that was on the floor. And, after you get in the NBA, you get a little limelight. He's picked up his jump shot so much. He's one of the better scorers in the league. Now he understands that how he's making his Adidas money is through scoring, so he hasn't paid that much attention to playing defense. Hopefully, Bickerstaff can get him back focused on that, and then they might have some. They definitely have some front line protection, and they got a real wizard in Garland. I'd hate to see him take the ball out of Garland's hand. Hopefully, he's able to
Yeah.
transition back to being a two guard because he was a two guard in college.
Yeah, and they were at their best when he was a shoe guard in Utah as well. Conley kind of
Yeah,
really fell off a cliff this year, and that's why I always say, hey, watch out for these older players,
yeah,
because Conley went from being pretty good 2 years ago to being almost unplayable last year. So we'll
right.
see how it turns out, and I'm not rooting against him, right? I don't know. I would not put my 5 first-round picks eggs in the Donovan Mitchell basket personally. I'm wanting like a KD, right, or I mean, a real
Right.
legitimate superstar that plays both ends of the floor. Not Donovan Mitchell, but we'll
Yeah,
see
for
how
that
it
matter.
goes. Yeah, we still how it goes. Hey, and like I said, I hope I'm wrong here, and I hope it works out well for Cleveland.
We'll definitely talk about that more during the NBA season when we get to your side of the year. Right now, it's my
Yeah,
time. It's college football. So
that's
let's get to
right.
the past, present, and the future.
That's
Get back
right.
to the past, man. What's the past spread for today?
So hey, Pittsburgh came through. They didn't cover that 7.5. The hook
You know,
was there, and I'll tell you what. So, why don't you tell me what you saw? I thought West Virginia played them pretty close. I thought Pittsburgh was actually, I don't want to say lucky to come out with a win, but
yeah.
from what I saw, I wouldn't have been surprised if West Virginia won that game outright. Now Pittsburgh was able to pull it out, but it wasn't the dominating performance that we expected. What did you see in that game?
Yeah, West Virginia scrappy. Neil Brown had those guys ready to play. He did a really good job. Um, Definitely just a scrappy performance all the way around. They pretty much lived up to what the backyard brawl used to be, and that's just a hard nosed, gritty game. Two teams slugging it out. What I have noticed was what I did notice from the game. Hey man, Pittsburgh needs some help on the back end on defense. Their defensive backs are struggling. They replaced some people back there, and you could tell. I'm sure Narduzzi will get it tightened up because he's the type of coach that focuses on that side of the ball. So I know he wasn't too pleased with the performance last night. Um, the game was one of the weirdest games I've seen because just as easily as West Virginia could have won that game, they also could have not covered the spread as well. Pitt had a couple times in the game where they had the opportunity to jump to 7. My clients and I, we bought the half a point. And when I was talking about it on here, it was more of a lean. My actual bet, as you guys know, on the Ball and Parlay was Central Michigan plus 22. But I definitely did put in a smaller ticket on Pittsburgh. We did buy the hook because it's an important number, man. When you get to numbers like 7 and threes in football, it's urgent that you buy the hook. Even on a 4.5, I always suggest that you buy it down to a 4, just because of these type of situations that occurred where we fall by a hook. But overall, the game was very entertaining. I thought both teams played hard. Um, Pitt's going to be one of the leading teams in the country with yak yards after the catch. Their receivers, their running backs, they really run hard, man. And West Virginia surprised me, man. They're going to be better than I actually thought they were. The quarterback that transferred from JT Daniels from USC played ball, man. He was pretty
Yeah, he
gritty.
looked good. He looked good.
Yeah, he looked. But what can we expect? He's been in college like 6 years. He's a vet, so um, I underestimated the coaching of Neil Brown and also of JT Daniels. It seems like he was really more hyped for the matchup than Pitt's quarterback was. It seems like he just was kind of, taking it as another game, Keenan Slovis. But Keaton Slovis is a great passer, man. He made some excellent throws, man. Last night showed why he's a NFL prospect. But Pitt does pull it out late with a pick six to win the game. Wasn't JT's fault, man. The ball was right on the money. The receiver kind of fumbles it, and for us people who were holding the 7, it was a blessing because the DB picked it off for Pitt and took it to the house, man. All right, let's get to the present.
All right, biggest game of the weekend. Defending national champions head. Well, wait, where's this game being played?
Georgia Dome, Atlanta.
So, the Oregon Ducks, are heading to see the
Yeah,
national champions. The
yeah,
Oregon Ducks, of course, in their first game after losing head coach Mario Cristobal, but he didn't bring a ton of recruits with him. That roster is still loaded with Cristobal
yes,
level recruits.
yes,
So the new coach is going to have an opportunity. The new coach is from Florida, right? Should
yeah,
be kind of familiar with how things go there. And now Georgia, new territory for them, right? They've been the hunters, right, for the last 5 years. They get close, they don't make it. Now they are the hunted. They have the target on their back, and the Ducks will be doing the shooting. What do you think of the Ducks and the Georgia Bulldogs?
I can't wait to watch this game. As usual, the SEC sets itself up in pretty good situations. My Tigers are playing in New Orleans on Sunday, and the old
Mm-hmm.
Georgia Bulldogs are playing right down the street in Atlanta. So it's pretty much a home game for them. Um, but Oregon was impressive last year going to Ohio State early and winning. So this roster has it in them. Bulldogs, man, they lost 15 players from their championship game team, man. Uh, all went to the NFL draft, including 5 first rounders from
Was
that
that a
defense.
record?
Yes,
Yeah,
it was a record.
that's unbelievable.
15 players to the NFL draft from there. So uh, the 5 first rounders on the defense were all major cogs. They had all been there under Kirby Smart's system for a long time. And not only do you have that going with all of the turnover and players, now you got to also deal with you're dealing with their ex defensive coordinator, who was the game caller, which is Dan Lanning, going to Oregon. So now
Mm-hmm.
the first game, you not only have a new defensive coordinator and all these important pieces that are gone, but you're facing a guy who pretty much built the system that you're running along with Kirby Smart. So now Kirby Smart's getting into the territory of Nick Saban, where his guys that he taught and he took up under his wing are coming after him.
Mm-hmm.
So I really, really like this Oregon team. The only place that I'm worried about the team is the most important position, and that's the quarterback. They have a freshman that has a lot of hype coming in, Ty Thompson, and then they also have the veteran Bo Nix. Bo Nix is in my type of quarterback. He's a backyard type of player. He plays better with second reaction when the plays break down. He's not really accurate, but I'm thinking still that Oregon will be able to put some plays in place that goes to his strengths, which is up in some rollout where he can get outside of the pocket and kind of see the field clear. He's not really a great pocket passer, but he does have a lot of heart. He does bring a lot of energy. He has a lot of confidence in himself, and he has the confidence of beating Georgia earlier in his career when he was at Auburn. And I think all these factors are going to really benefit the Oregon Ducks well. As you said, Cristobal left the cupboard full. Like, it's plenty of players there. They got ballers at Oregon. So now we see how they adjust to a new mouth in their ears, a new person leading them with this youngster Dan Lanning coming in with his first job. I'm excited to see what he does, but I definitely will be taking the plus 17. I gave it out on ESPN 97.5 on the bench on Thursday. So the pit game I was more speaking of. Sometimes I give you guys a lean when I'm talking about the present. But on this one, this was an actual play that I will be making, and that's Oregon plus 17. And spreads also follow me on that play.
I just put it in right now so I don't forget. Any lean on the total there? Total 55.
Oh man, that one is shaky. I would probably, off the top of my head, say over, just because they're inside, they're on turf. You got some speedsters on both sides. You got Stetson Bennett, who, even though he's a walk-on, now he's a national championship player. And even though I'm not too fond of either of these quarterbacks' games, they both have a lot of talent playing around them. So if I was going to lean either way, I would lean to 55. But you also have to remember we have two defensive-minded coaches as the head coaches of these teams. Kirby Smart, he's defense first, and then his former assistant Dan Lanning, of course, is defense first, and bringing a new approach to Oregon. And another thing why I stay away from the total is because I don't really know what type of offense Oregon's going to run now. We've never seen Lanning and what kind of system he's going to implement, but I will be interested to see that. I just think that with all of the turnover on defense and then key positions for Georgia, so much talent going on here, I just don't think that they'll be able to cover 17. I don't know if they win, but 17 points is a lot to give a team as talented as Oregon.
All right. Can't wait for that one here. Maybe one of the last chances for us to have some meaningful football out here on the West Coast, as all our teams are going to the bigger conferences, and the SEC has run college football for about the last 15 years. Can we at least cover a spread? Let's hope we can do it
Let's get
for
it
all
in, Ducks. Let's
the
get it
West
in.
Coast football fans. Let's talk about the future. Two more
The
futures
future.
here before the season starts. I'm going to start with mine, man. This is simple. I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers. It was over 10.5. It's going over 11. They've won 13 games the last 3 years. Their defense is still fantastic. And the thing is, when you have these elite quarterbacks, they're not dependent on an elite receiver the same way. Like, we're going to downgrade Tennessee, right? Because Tannehill's not elite. He needs A.J. Brown, right?
Yeah. Right.
Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, and we're going to see with Patrick Mahomes because Rodgers and Mahomes, two big name quarterbacks that have lost it. But in our history watching the NFL, the receiver needs the quarterback. The quarterback doesn't need the receiver. And so that's why, I believe that, they're taking 2 games off for one player because you can't tell me a different spot where this team got worse.
Right.
The defense is better. They got guys back from injury. They have a great backfield. This team's going to be able to get it done. Not to mention, still one of the best home field advantages in the NFL. And I know Detroit's great, and I know Hard Knocks is great, right? But that's still to me, it's an advantage matchup for the Packers. And we've
I
already
haven't
gone
watched
over the
one
Bears.
episode. I haven't watched the
Okay.
episode. Have you watched one?
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's the
all
same
right.
stuff every year, right? But Dan Campbell's a celebrity. Dan Campbell makes the show.
Okay, he's
Yeah.
entertaining. He looks like he is. He was a
But
Saints,
just because you're
tight end
entertaining
coach.
in those pregame speeches, don't necessarily mean you can get it done. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens there. But to me, really, Minnesota's the only one that you worry about, and Minnesota's team doesn't travel as well outdoors, right? So even if they
Right.
split Minnesota, they should be able to go at least 4-2 in division, and they're going to win a lot of those non-conference games when the team travels. Give me the Green Bay Packers over 11 wins, and you're going to give us a college football win total.
Yeah, man. I got to go with the men of Troy. Got to go with USC. I'm looking at their schedule. They got Rice, win. Stanford, win. Fresno State, especially, wasn't impressive after what I saw last night. They're going to struggle, it seems like, without Kalen DeBoer, who was their coach before they now moved to Washington. I didn't like how they looked at all last night against a really weak Cal Poly team. At Oregon State, they have to be careful. Oregon State is tough. That will be a tough matchup for them. Arizona State, they get them at home. Washington State at home. Go to Utah. I expect them to lose that game. At Arizona, I can see them being challenged, but not losing. Versus California at home against Cal. Colorado win. At UCLA a win. Notre Dame, we don't know what we're going to see from the Irish this year, but I doubt that they come and are able to defeat USC at home. So that's right there alone 11-1. The total's only 9.5 right now, and the overs at an even money. Um, I know that people are really high on USC, but somehow the total dropped from 10.5 to 9.5. But I disagree. I gotta ride it. Now I wasn't on the 10.5, but I'm definitely on the 9.5. I just feel like Lincoln Riley and his system is gonna shock the Pac-12 this year. They're not used to playing against teams that play in the manner that he does, bringing the physicality that he's going to bring with the running game. The up tempo, and then he brings Caleb Williams over there, who knows the system now. Is in the second year. He's a big time player. He's a real star. He's legit. And then you get Jordan Addison in from Pitt, who's a real playmaker. I just think that SC is head and shoulders above a real mediocre Pac-12 team, and that they'll have no problem going over 10.5 wins. All right, man. We got to.
I'll tell you what, though. I'll bet you Lincoln Riley's not too happy about this. When he went, I'll bet you he was thinking, I'm going to win my conference every single year, no matter what. Right?
Yep.
Now, but hey, the money talks. I guess, went from $30 million a year to $60 million a year, being on that Big Ten TV contract. So, what are we jumping into now?
SC. They say that we are SC, and if you are SC, then, it's time to live up to the billing. It's not 70s anymore, and Juice isn't in the I formation and it running tailback you with John Robinson. It's a new day. So if you guys are saying who you're supposed to be as an all-time great university in Southern Cal, then it's time to step up and come play with the big boys, that we're calling for you, because I know the SEC can't wait to get their hands on Texas and Oklahoma. So
Yeah.
let's get to kick the damn extra point real quick, man. I have one candidate. One candidate only. That's Jim McElwain,
Okay.
the head coach for the Central Michigan Chippewas. Last night, only by the grace of the good Lord and the talent of the quarterback Richardson and his receivers, the weapons that he have, and also a very game running back of Lou Nichols, where they're able to backdoor and cover that 22 for me. I had a huge bet on it. I had my whole clients rolling with me. I had the whole city of Houston rolling with me, and they were down 44-15 at halftime. All thanks to their coach. This guy gets 3 opportunities less than a yard. Both times, the first time he runs his quarterback, he lets his quarterback run he gives it to not the quarterback. He runs a quarterback option and gives it to the dive man out the shotgun. You need 1 inch, and they're 8 yards back. The next time the back's in a single back, and he's 10 yards back and gets stopped. And then on the next play, he runs a pitch. I don't know what Jim McElwain was thinking. His receivers were winning all night. That's how they were able to get back into the game. You know, a team like Central Michigan has no business beating a team like Oklahoma State in the second half as bad as they did. They beat them by about 2 touchdowns in the second half. And it's all because Jim McElwain, they had got so far behind that he had no choice but to take off the gloves. He continued to run the ball. He made his quarterback throw it 3rd and long over and over in the first half, which was ridiculous because the quarterback was lights out. He threw for like 450 yards last night, man. And every pass that he made was very catchable, on the money, hitting guys in stride. His receiving core looked amazing. They had a tight end who was about 6'5", a receiver that's about 6'5", and both of them were winning anytime that they wanted to. Their running backs were working out of the backfield on linebackers, and he was hitting them. They just didn't throw the ball enough. They just didn't. They kept it too conservative. He played it too close to the vest. You can't go into a place like Stillwater and expect to win playing scared. It was 7-7 in the second quarter, the beginning of the second quarter spread. Great defensive play by Central Michigan, causes a punt. Great special teams play by Oklahoma State. They pin them inside the 1. Instead of this coach coming up and saying, okay, let's go to the line, at least run a quarterback sneak, a fullback dive or something to get us a little room, 10 yards deep, running back next to the quarterback, shotgun, handoff draw from the end zone, safety. From that moment there, do you know that Oklahoma State ran off 37 straight points in the second quarter? So we did cover, but it wasn't any thanks to you, Jim McElwain. I can see why you were fired at Florida. I can see why they don't want you in Colorado State to talk too fondly about you out there either, man. Jim McElwain, kick the damn extra point.
All right.
Man. Get to the ball and parlay, man. What everybody tunes in for, man. What you got to say? Parlay
I'm gonna have you start because we're in college football mode. So you got a college football pick, right? I got a tennis pick, but I think people want to keep talking this college football. And hey, it's from an area you know well. Break it down.
Man, LSU, they're about to house Florida State. The books with this number is the gift that keeps on giving. I would not.
What should the number be, you think? 6?
Yeah, at least. I really say 7. 7, okay. 7.5. And the reason why is this. LSU is playing in the Superdome. New Orleans is the second home to LSU, so it might as well be a home game for them. This is Brian Kelly's first game, his first introduction to Louisiana. Those kids are going to be fired up. And the things that we talked about earlier when we were doing a little preseason stuff about college football, about why Florida and its feeder system at kind of, isn't as strong as it used to be, is really about to weird space in this matchup. Too much talent coming through the pipelines of Louisiana. Uh, Too much talent at the receiver spots, at the D line, at the O line, at the running back. The only question for LSU this year is the quarterback, and both of those guys can play. I'm hoping that they run with my guy from Arizona State who transferred there. He's very multi-talented, man. He's a great runner, great passer, great leader. He did a great job at Arizona State and put those guys on his shoulders and took them to heights that many people thought that they couldn't, as far as in the amount of wins they were able to put together. Jaden Daniels is just a complete quarterback, and he's a veteran. Whereas in how do you say his name? Musburger or something like that. Mussheimer, I forgot. They just call him Muss. He's from LSU. He's a good player. He got some run last year. He was okay. Nussenheimer, excuse me. He got some run last year, but it's just he isn't prepared as Jaden Daniels is. He hasn't played as many games. He hasn't gotten as many snaps, and then on top of that, Jaden Daniels has more talent. So I think that he'll be the quarterback that leads LSU out against Florida State. But either quarterback is going to get it done, and the reason why is just by the second half, I think that LSU will have worn on Florida State so bad that the game will be pretty simple. It'll be just pretty much just running out the clock at that point. I really, really like LSU in this game. I really think that Brian Kelly's going to make a statement. Brian Kelly coming to LSU was similar for me to when Dick Saban came. You got a guy that's outside of the culture, but it's very organized, no nonsense, no fluff, uh, just great coach. That's a great X and O guy, and he's very firm, very disciplined, and he's going to bring that with talent that he has never had before. Look what Brian Kelly did with Cincinnati. He's the one that put him on the map. Look what he did with Notre Dame. Even though it's not enough to Notre Dame alumni, it's plenty of guys like us who know and who've been watching and been sports the last 20 years. Notre Dame had fell all the way out. They hadn't been as good as they've been with Brian Kelly since like Tony Rice and Rocket Ismail was there. And that's like, what, early 90s or something. So Brian Kelly is a hell of a coach. The recruiting standards and the academic standards for Notre Dame are insane at this point. Back then, Lou Holtz was getting around all that stuff. He's one of those old school guys who really knew how to grease pockets and move things around. But in this new time that we're in before NIL, Notre Dame was struggling, man, because they can only do so much. The kids have to get accepted by the board, and he did a great job still accumulating talent. Now he's gonna have just hand pick. He can just go in a pool and just pick what he wants now, and I think he's going to really benefit from that. I expect LSU to handle Florida State pretty easily, a lot easier than 3 points. So I'll be all over LSU -3.
All right. I'm going to the U.S. Open. Francis Tiafoe, good player, exciting player, kind of hard to handicap. Sometimes I don't like betting his matches, but in this case I do. It's because I'm eager to fade Diego Schwartzman, right?
Yeah.
Diego should have lost the first round to Jack Sock, who's barely even playing now, but Sock hurt himself. You know, he barely makes it through round 2, right? And now he faces an American player who's going to be really popular with the crowd. And when he's at his best, can beat anyone in the world outside of the top 5, right? So Tiafoe is a tough player to go against, so I think that he wins fairly easily. -4 games is the spread here, right? But this isn't best 2 out of 3. This is best 3 out of 5, right? So 6-4, 6-4, 6-4. We're getting home easily. I just don't like the way that Schwartzman's playing right now. Schwartzman's a great player, but he's so much better on clay. And yes, I know it's a little slower here at the U.S. Open, but doesn't matter. Tiafoe's playing well. Schwartzman's not. Give me Francis Tiafoe -4 games.
All right, so spread going with my guy Big Foe. That's one of my favorite tennis players, man. I hope that he can come through, and I'll be on my Tigers. Go Tigers! Hold them Tigers. Y'all bet it -3. It'll be my biggest bet of the weekend. That's it for this week, man. Next week we start up NFL. It's back to pro football along with college football. I'm very excited. We got First matchup of the season coming up next week, and we look forward to talking about it. Anything for the people spread before we get out of here?
Now let's just cash these winners, have some extra money to go into next week.
I like it. Sounds good to me. Y'all follow my guy Spread at Spread Astaire. Follow me at 5 Star in Vegas. Subscribe to the channel. I want to dedicate this show to my guy WEZ, man. He passed, unfortunately, from a heart attack, unexpected heart attack, man. Really good dude. All we did was laugh together, man. And he was a real fan of what I was doing with sports betting, man. One of the first guys that I kicked it with and met when I moved to Vegas full time. And we used to be at Red Rock in the sports book, clowning, having a great time, man. And I just hope that his family's okay. I send my condolences to them and his son. And may God bless his soul. Best of luck to you all.